This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to another edition of C2C Rank Em. I'm the host, Big B, along with my co-host, halfway around the world, the Primus, Tim Hendricks. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Excited for today. Also, today being Christmas Eve, as it were, for all of us NFL fans, and hopefully you guys can all come watch Bacon and I tomorrow on the Bacon Oos. The Bacon Prime Draft Special, where we break down the draft as it's happening. So hopefully you guys can come join us.
Yep. Check that out tomorrow night. Maybe a little pregame, but the first pick will drop hopefully around 7:01. Yeah,
It doesn't even drop at 11 my time.
Yeah. No, hopefully it drops at 7:01 as everybody's, got that consensus that Caleb Williams will be the number one pick. And then after that, it's going to be a crapshoot. I think we're going to see a lot of movement. I'm really excited for the draft. So, but for today, I just want to throw out there we got 8 categories today. We're going to have a little fun with some of these. So with that being said, let's get started. We're going to start with the Detroit Tigers. We got 6 teams. We are going to name drop our top 5. If somebody asks us who is known for this team, that's who it's going to be. First player to come to mind, or in our case, top 5 players that come to mind. So, all right. So Detroit Tigers, how many do you think we're going to get?
3, maybe 4, maybe 3.
Yeah, I can see 3. I can see 3. So go ahead.
Well, this is one of these. I'm the guy who's known to drop the historical people, and this is the time where I don't think the historical people. I'm not going to drop any name that nobody's ever heard before. But my number 5 is always linked to another player. He's always linked to a person who's not in the Hall of Fame for the reasons we all know, because he broke a certain record. A guy from Georgia, but made his name with the Detroit Tigers. I always remembered him as a Detroit Tiger. My number 5 is and was played by in his biopic was played by Tommy Lee Jones. And I thought he played it pretty damn good. My number 5 is Ty Cobb.
Yep. No, that's on there. For some, I'll admit I didn't have Ty Cobb on there just because I think of him somewhere else for some reason. But all right, my number 5 is a guy who left MLB, then came back after a couple years overseas, and all he did was just mash some monster home runs. I think he hit at least a half a dozen out of Tiger Stadium. If you guys know old Tiger Stadium, they had a roof on there, and it was just a massive shot to hit it out of there. And the big first baseman, Cecil Fielder.
We're going to start early, huh?
Yep.
We're going to start
You're number
early
4.
because it's not C2C unless we're sniping. Like I said, right off the rip. My number 4 is your number 5. A lot of us Milwaukee fans know his son really, really well, and Prince. Then he goes to Texas. But yeah, I remember trying to hoard as many of Cecil Fielder's Toronto Blue Jays cards after he came back and decided to destroy the American League coming back from Japan. But yeah, my number 4, Cecil Fielder.
Yeah. And the scary thing with Cecil and Prince, look at their stats. They're
Identical across the board.
Yes. Yes. My number 4 is possibly one of the sweetest gloves, as people would say, and that's one Lou Whitaker.
Why? At this point, I'm starting to wonder who your number 1 is, and I kind of have a thought, because it's not C2C unless we're sniping.
Ooh, 2 for 2.
My brother's favorite baseball player. He was born on my mom's birthday, which is my brother's birthday. That was a reason why my brother loved one Sweet Lou Whitaker. Still deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Still a shock that he's not in. But yeah, I heard enough of Lou Whitaker in my lifetime, and I think I've talked about it enough listening to Tigers baseball games, because Milwaukee games don't show up in Northeast Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so we always listen to the baseball games out of Escanaba, and I listened to Ernie Harwell call Lou Whitaker games, call Cecil Fielder games, called X a number of other players games, because that's just what happens.
Yeah. My number 3, possibly one of the greatest coaches around. I think there's a baseball card. I think he's sitting in the dugout with the stogie in his mouth, I think, if I remember right, when they used to do cards out. And that's one Sparky Anderson.
I could have put him on 2 different lists, and I didn't do it.
Yep.
I didn't put him on, and I didn't put him on either.
Yep. You're number 2.
Because I could have put him on Cincinnati's, and I didn't. My number 2 is probably the best second baseman to ever play in Detroit. One half of the best middle fielders that they've had in Detroit. This guy is in the Hall of Fame. To me, I think he was the epitome of Detroit second baseman. My number 2 is Alan Trammell.
My number 2, probably a shocker. But again, I think my number 1 is going to trump my number 2. And my number 2 is Jack Morris. I got him at number 2.
You did go Jack Morris.
All right, you're number 1.
I almost put Kirk Gibson up too, but I could almost put either one of them up. To me, we've always talked about players being Mr. This, Mr. That, like Mr. Padres, Tony Gwynn, Mr. Cub is Ernie Banks. To me, I haven't been lucky enough to meet him. Part of the 500 home run club, Hall of Famer. To me, when I thought of the first thing when you brought up the Detroit Tigers, I thought of this guy. It was an automatic number 1. My number 1 is Al Kaline.
Oh, wow! I thought. Oh, wow! Okay. My number 1.
Oh no!
I thought you're going. I thought you're going Cabrera when you started saying that. But my number 1 is your number 2. I'm going Alan Trammell. As you know, when somebody says Detroit Tigers, it's probably the first name that pops off my list. So,
with Miggy, I always think of the Florida Marlins first.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I think this generation would say Tigers. Yeah,
right.
So, all right. So let's move into the Cincinnati Red, the big red machine.
After I just bring him up about Sparky Anderson, yeah.
We gotta go 3 again. I think there's 3 solid ones here.
Oh, I think 3. If You could probably sneak in a fourth. I think our three are going to. I think our three sits at 1, 2, 3. If I'm not mistaken, I think our three sits right 1, 2, 3. It just depends on how you have it.
Yep, they should. So, all right, you go ahead and kick it off.
No, you kick it off.
No.
Yeah.
No, Oh yeah, I do. Don't I? Oh, all right. My number 5, the big first baseman that depending on what kind of year he was having, looked like an MVP and turned around. If he doesn't have he just has a mediocre year. And that's one Joey Votto.
I think we're going 4 at least.
Okay. All right. You're number 5.
My number 5. I got this card. Every time I thought of this guy, it was like I see this guy's 1986 Topps baseball card. Every time I always thought that the 86 Topps baseball card, it was Bo Jackson, and it was this card. Not 86, I'm sorry, 87 with the wood grain.
Okay.
But I keep seeing, I can picture that card in my head. He's got he's got the Reds hat on. He's got the Reds batting warm up jacket. He's got a baseball. He's throwing the baseball to himself. Can see it all the time, and it's one of those iconic cards to me that sticks out every time you bring up the 87 Topps. To me, I think he's probably one of the more underrated Reds that have ever played for the organization. I think of this guy, and I cringe every time he came up to bat. Thank God he didn't face my Brewers that often at that time, because we were in different leagues at the time. But my number 5 is Eric Davis.
Okay, so you got him.
You got him at 5.
Okay. All right, my number 4. Not C2C unless you're sniping. I got Eric Davis at 4. You had him at 5, so we're 2 for 2 for today. I got to think of that card now because Bo Jackson and Eric Davis together. Okay. Anyways,
no, Bo Jackson wasn't on the card. Bo Jackson had a separate card, but it was the fact is there are 2 different cards that came out of that set. One was the Bo Jackson, the Future Stars card, and then there's the Eric Davis card. And it always stuck to me every time I thought of the 87 set.
Okay.
But I have this feeling we're going 5 for 5.
Okay.
because my number 4.
Oh, with him, the ball. Okay, I know what ball you're talking about. He's sitting in his warm up.
Right. He's sitting in his warm up jacket
and has the ball in his hand. Okay.
Right. My number 4 is well, let's go ahead and get the key phrase back out there again. This is the phrase that pays, I guess. It's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 4 is your number 5. I thought that guy was going to die as a Red, and then he goes and signs a minor league contract with the Blue Jays.
Yep.
But yeah, every time he scared me. I mean, we see him way too many times, and he scared the living hell out of me every time he was there. So, yeah, my number 4 was Joey Votto.
All right. My number 3, when you talk about backstops, you talk about this guy all the time. And that's one Johnny Bench.
You make it so much easier that I don't have to try to explain anything sometimes. It's just so easy, because my number 3 is, it's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 3 is your number 3, Johnny Bench.
All right.
The guy who used to sell Krylon with spray paint in the 80s.
Yeah. My number 2.
Ooh, this is the one that could be questionable at this point.
My number 2 probably. I would say before some of the recent shortstops come up, I think he was probably top 5 for sure, if not top 3, with his range and his ability. And that's one Barry Larkin.
Yeah, you're just making the Cincinnati Reds easy for me today. Because again, we're going to go the phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 2 is your number 2, Barry Larkin. It's like you were looking at my paper.
Yeah, and honestly, if we don't have this guy at number 1 together, I think our baseball card should be taken away. I mean, mine's already halfway out my wallet, anyways. But
yeah,
the all-time hits leader, Pete Rose.
Yeah, and I kind of alluded to him when I brought up Ty Cobb. Yeah, it's the phrase that pays.
The phrase that pays. There you go. 5 for 5. We haven't done a 5 for 5 in a long time, and a legit 5 for 5, not a 5 for 5 because we doubled up on 3 of them.
Right. I think it's been over a month.
5 for 5. I thought, I really thought Botto. I thought you would have went somewhere else, and I actually put Botto on there because I was trying to think of a pitcher, and for some reason I could not come up with a pitcher, and I looked at the roster and I'm like,
the only one that I thought of was either because I always thought I would have been Norm Charlton, but Norm Charlton pitched for the Phillies. My brothers would have been up there. Would have been
where did Rob Dibble play?
Reds. That was the one. That would have been the one I would have put on. My brother would have put on Tom Browning. My brother would have put on Tom Browning too.
Yeah. So all right. So 5 for 5. So we're 8 for 10. So do way better.
We're already better than the White Sox.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the NBA. With the playoffs starting, got some good series going right now. So we'll start with the Knicks here. I say we got 3.
I think we got 3. I just don't know where the third one lands on here, but I think we got 3.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
All right. Every time I thought of this guy, I thought of him as a Knick. Then I remembered he played in Chicago for a little bit. But then he got into a fight with James Dolan at Madison Square Garden, got kicked out. But this is one of those first enforcers to me. I thought it was like a huge enforcer for and I know that's a hockey term, but we're throwing enforcer out and for the NBA. My number 5 is the Oak Man, Charles Oakley. Really? Right off the top?
We are going right off the top. 6 in a actually I guess it'd be 6 in a row for us, 7 in a row, actually. Charles Oakley. And that's the thing is, I knew, he was one of the first names that came up, and I'm like, but he's going to be known more for now with his fight and getting banned, I think, from the
he's
arena.
Banned from
I don't think
he's banned from Market Square. Or from Market Square. Yeah. He's banned from Madison Square. Why did I think Market Square? That's in Indianapolis.
All right. You're number 4.
My number 4. This is the one where we're probably not going to be connected. If we are, this is absolutely shocking. And no, it's not Phil Jackson. Because I never remember Phil Jackson played for the Knicks either. But back in the mid 70s, there was finals. I think it was one of the first times that the Knicks were in a finals, and there was this player who was hurt the night before and wasn't expected to. No, he got hurt during the game, during the NBA Finals, and then come back running onto the court. I had to double check to make sure I got this guy right because there was like 3 of them. I'm like, okay, I got to make sure I get the right guy. And then when I saw Willis Reed, and I knew exactly who I was looking for. Yeah, my number 4 is Willis Reed.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a good one because when Paul Pierce did it in the finals, they were comparing the two.
Right.
My number 4, I think if he played today, I don't think we know this guy if he plays today because I think he was just a big inside presence, but had some skill, had some speed, had some ups, and that's one of Amari Stoudemire.
I was going to say Bill Cartwright.
The guy had a 2-inch vertical?
2-inch vertical, but good thing he was 7'3".
Yeah, exactly. You're number 3.
My number three, a kid who played just up the road in Syracuse. Everybody else remembers him for another team, but I always remember him for this team. LeBron always wanted him to find a way to get him on his team. I think that was the whole Avengers team they were talking about. They wanted to get him in Miami to play along with Wade and Bosch and LeBron in Miami. And I think his dream come true was to play for the Knicks, his hometown Knicks, even though he played at Syracuse. The mellow man himself, Mr. Marshmallow, Carmelo Anthony. Go ahead.
Well,
Put it on the board.
What can you say? Yep, Carmelo Anthony. That was one of the third name that just rang a bell to me. So, all right, you're number two.
My number two. Honestly, when I saw this, when you put up did you put up the Knicks? Yeah, you put up the Knicks.
Yeah.
I thought of this guy almost immediately after my number one. The only guy outside of Isaiah Thomas known to piss off Michael Jordan, especially in the Eastern Conference playoffs. If he were to play today, he'd be fouled. He'd be fouled out of so many bloody games. It's so stupid. My number two is John Starks. Go ahead. Do like Hawk Harrelson always says when a home run happens. Well, maybe not this year because of the White Sox.
Yeah.
You can put it on the board.
Yeah. But yeah, that one you can put on the board. John Starks definitely, yeah, he tormented a lot of people. So, all right, you're number one.
My number one is a guy I have a picture of when he was on the coaching staff of the Orlando Magic. Actually, it's where Dwight Howard and my number one are standing right next to each other at the free throw line, warming up before a game between the Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks, I want to say. Tickets my brother won. By all, the weirdest thing is my brother knew a Gator stat before I did, and that kind of scared me. But the guy, I swear to God, this is one of those guys that you wish had an NBA title, and he doesn't have one. God, if he'd have played with Michael in Chicago, with Scotty, Dennis, and Michael, and whoever they wanted to throw it at the point, if B.J. Armstrong was stayed there in Paxton.
Oh.
God, this team would have been unstoppable. It would have this might have been a team that could have gone 82-0. With a perfect center. You got Luke. Okay, you consider that the first three-peat had Bill Cartwright, the second, and Luke Longley. The second one had Will Perdue and Luke Longley. But you put Patrick Ewing on that team, and it's an absolute scary, scary team. My number one is Patrick Ewing. You can put it. Go ahead, put it on the board.
Yep, put it on the board. Yep, the phrase that pays. All right. So, 4 or 5. I got Patrick Ewing. That was definitely the first one. It was weird, honestly, to see him on the sideline as a coach when he coached Georgetown. And just as tall as he was, it was just a weird sight. So, all right. So, let's see if we can keep it rolling here. We're going to move on to the Sonics / Oklahoma OKC.
Okay, here, the thing that confused me when you said where did they go to where did the Seattle Supersonics go to? I went.
I really just had a brain lapse there because I could not remember where they went to.
Yeah,
because I knew it wasn't Charlotte because I was like, okay, that was the
that was Charlotte. Charlotte was an expansion team that went to New Orleans, and then Charlotte became its own team again.
Yeah. So. But yeah, the Supersonics OKC. So this one,
this is a 5. This could possibly be 5.
This could be a 5er. I'm going to go 4.
4? Okay, I like your 4.
I'm going to go 4.
We could be Babe Ruth and calling our shot with 5, but no, we won't do that.
Nope. Yeah, no. I'm going to go with the guy who should have been a Timberwolf, but we talked about it before getting traded. I know he didn't play long there, but I think he was there long enough to get him some, recognition as being a guy that would, when somebody says Supersonics, you would say his name, and that was one Ray Allen.
Well, we can forget 5.
All right, you're number 5.
This is what I think of Supersonics. That's not the guy I think of. Okay, my number 5. Funny thing is, OKC had a group of, and I'm going with the OKC group right now.
Okay.
They had a set of triplets. To me, I thought should have had titles over titles, and I still to this second don't know how it happened that they never got a title in OKC with these 3 people. But I didn't triple up, so just so because this is a lot easier. Then he goes to Houston and doesn't win a title there either. I'm starting to think that he's the problem. My number 5 is the Beard himself, James Harden.
Oh, I forgot he even played there. Yeah. Okay. My number 4, this guy drained threes almost as good as Reggie Miller back in the day, Larry Bird. I think he'd be. I definitely think in today's game, I think he would be in the top 50 of all-time greatest players if he played today. My number 4 is Def Left Shrimp, and I love the name.
I thought you almost had me scared there that we're not going 4. He had me scared that I thought you were going to tell me Tom Chambers, because for weird thing is like Tom Chambers was briefly in Seattle, and most people don't remember that.
Nope. All right, you're number 4.
My number 4 is a guy who I'm if I'm not mistaken, is coming off the bench in Los Angeles, but I can't be really sure. I actually had an autographed rookie card of this guy, and I'm really gonna make myself. Every time I hear he makes an all-star game or all-star team, all NBA team, it makes me sick. I traded. I think I sold it for like $60. That makes me sick. I think he's with the Lakers now. But he seems to be another guy who seems to be poison in the locker room. But I always remember at OKC. My number 4 is Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, you're going that way. Okay. My number 3, a guy that is still playing, starting, I believe, with the Suns. Part of that trio. I'm going Kevin Durant. So we're skating here.
We're skating, but I think we're covered.
Number 2.
I think we're good.
All right, you're number 3.
My number 3. Well, every time this is one of the guys that I think we had a show back in the day. If we had a player on our team, I think you wanted him on the Timberwolves.
Yep.
But I always remember from Seattle. To me, he scared the living hell out of me, especially when he's coming down the lane and you put somebody in front of him. That poor man is going to be first-degree murder at this point, because that kid's going to be meat in the lane. To me, I think one of the more powerful dunkers we've ever seen in the NBA. Absolutely scary what he could do with 2 steps. Think about if he had a runway. My number 3 is Shawn Kemp.
There it is. Yeah. So yeah, number 2 for me, Shawn Kemp, the guy, monster dunks. I mean, I would hate to see him in his prime play. He'd kill Wemby. What's that?
I think he'd kill Wemby right now, because Wemby is so thin.
I would kill Wemby right now. Wemby's a stick right now. He needs to put out muscle. If Wemby puts on some muscle, he's going to be a scary player.
He does. If Wemby does what Giannis did in the first 3 years he's in the league, Wemby's going to be a monster.
Okay, you're number 2.
My number 2. Well, you kind of alluded to a reason why my number 2 is where he is. He had a brief little period stay in Milwaukee because of your number 5. Um,
Yep.
if it weren't because it's I really didn't like it. We already had a point guard, and then we throw that guy in, and then you just go ahead and let him go to Los Angeles with Karl Malone, and you can't win a championship with Karl Malone and my guy and Kobe and Shaquille O'Neal. How do you not win an NBA championship with that roster? Probably one of the greatest nicknames outside of Rain Man, right? Who's number 3. My number 2 guy has got probably the next greatest nickname in Seattle history, the Glove himself, Gary Payton.
All right. I even forgot what Sean Kemp's nickname was.
Rain Man. Yeah, oh yeah, I remembered Rain Man.
My number 1 is your number 2, Gary Payton, the Glove. I don't know how well his kid's playing defense, but man, Gary Payton on his game. I mean, you couldn't get by him. So you're number 1.
My number 1. Well, when I brought this up, there was only one name that was my number 1, and that's that kid over in the Phoenix Suns. The kid got his ring over in Golden State. My number 1, I think, is your number 3. The kid from Texas himself, Kevin Durant.
The phrase that pays. And him it really got to him on game 1. He was really jacking him, and Kevin Durant just sat there just laughed at him. So, all right, so we're 3 for 5 there. We're moving along here pretty good. I think we're 15 of 20, if I'm counting right.
15 of 20, that puts us at 3 of 5. We're batting 60.
Yep. So let's go over to the LA, Oakland, Las Vegas backyard Raiders, whatever you want to call them. This one could be a 5-er. I will say I did double up.
I didn't.
So
I didn't. I think 3. We're not getting 5. I don't think we're getting 5. If we get 5 out of this, I'll be, don't get me wrong, I will be pleasantly surprised if we get 5.
Okay. All right. So I start.
No, I start.
Yeah. No, you start. Okay, go
ahead. When I thought of this, I thought of this kid that played that got drafted by the New England Patriots out of Stanford. One of the first quarterbacks in Oakland history to go to a Super Bowl and win, because we all know that didn't happen in Super Bowl 2. But I thought of this guy automatically. I love the way this guy played quarterback. I'm just really hope that he never played in the AFC. I always wished he played in the NFC. My number 5 is Jim Plunkett.
Ooh.
Like I said, we're not getting 5.
Nope. Because my number 5 is a quarterback. I thought maybe we got to hear, but I went the other way because for some reason the name sticks out all the time, and I'm going Ken Stabler.
Oh, I was going to say, here comes Todd Marinovich. No,
Rich Game
and Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell probably would be on somebody's list because
because you remembered him.
All right, you're number 4.
My number 4 is a cornerback. I say corner, the guy that plays in the corner, the corner, and is the reason why the tuck rule is well known, because he was the guy who hit Tom Brady, if I'm not mistaken, on a corner blitz that caused the. If I remember my replay right, you're going to look it up though, because I thought
that too. But
I like being fact checked like the president during the State of the Union. But he didn't win his Super Bowl with the Oakland Raiders, or at the time it would have been Oakland. Yeah, it's still Oakland. James will tell me if James is watching, he'll tell me if I'm right or wrong. That's cool. But did win his Super Bowl with a player with a team that from the state that I'm originally from, and that Brandon is the neighbor to. Matter of fact, heck, he didn't even finish that Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. I think he broke his forearm going into the second and going into the second half in the second quarter. But he's also the only defensive player to ever win the Heisman Trophy out of the University of Michigan. He beat one Peyton Manning that year of the Heisman Trophy. But to me, I think probably one of the best cornerbacks ever, but if not probably the best cornerback to ever play in the Raiders jersey. I know there are people out there going, "Oh, dude, it's Eric Allen. Eric Allen's the best that ever played it." No, he didn't. He had most of his years were best of Eric Allen's years were in Philadelphia. My number 4 is Charles Woodson.
Good call there. Good call. I had him at 6. I think for some reason when I think of Charles Woodson, I think more of the Packers season. Yeah. But now that you said the tuck rule and stuff, and yes, he was the one that caused it. He should have been up there. But my number 4, great receiver. Just I think he just put up great numbers. And in Tecmo Bowl, he was one of probably the best receivers that just could not stop him, and that's Tim Brown.
Yep, and I thought you were going to go Jerry Rice, and then I was coming to Minnesota and slapping the shit out of you. Who was it? Who said it? Who was the one that brought up Jerry Rice? Was it Dragon Viper? It was the best backup quarterback or something?
The best quarterback in San Francisco history? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was
cool.
That was one of our games. So, all right.
Cool.
You're number 3.
2, 3. 3. You're right. 3. 3. Was it my 3 already?
Yep,
oh yeah, because it's the one that it's the one I picked. So yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get it out of the way. It's the phrase that pays. We're here at C2C Rank Em, where we just snipe everybody's other stuff. My number 3 is your number 3. Tim Brown.
My number 4, you mean?
Number 4, him too.
Yeah. All right. My number 3.
Now it's got me curious who you've got above, who you doubled up on, and who. Oh boy.
All right, my number 3 is a scary defensive linebacker end. Now he's on Fox doing doing the pregame.
Oh, I didn't forget him.
My number 3 is Howie Long.
I didn't forget him, but I forgot him. Did you ever hear the statement? I didn't forget him, but I forgot him.
Yep.
Yeah, that's now.
All right, you're number 3.
My number 2.
No, you're number 2. Yeah.
Huh? My number.
Yeah, you're number 2.
My number 2. Okay. Oh wait, you picked the Raiders. I didn't. Now that I think about it. Okay. I'm thinking this would have been a team I'd have picked too. All
right.
My number 2, a Heisman Trophy winner. You're looking at your 1 and 2 going, which one did he take and who did he put him where? I'm going to say 1/2 the best running back tandem to ever be on Tecmo Bowl, as you so nicely brought it up before with Tim Brown. Probably the most. No. Not going to say underrated. End up going to Kansas City. I think he has got the longest rushing touchdown in Super Bowl history, if I'm not mistaken. 99 yards against the Redskins. But I'm going to tell you my Heisman Trophy winner at number 2 is from USC. How we were lucky. We were talking backstage about USC players losing their Heisman trophies or getting them back. If nobody's watched the news, yes, Reggie Bush is getting his Heisman Trophy back. That's one USC player. But my USC players, the person who's married to one Debbie Allen, my number 2 is Marcus Allen.
Okay. All right. Well, my number 2, I think when you say Raiders, this name jumps up probably 7 out of 10 times. He's from Minnesota. He had his cruiser, did not drive or did not take flights. And that's one John Madden.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're number one.
We're getting two at this point. Oh no, you doubled up. Oh, I remembered you doubled up with my other Heisman Trophy winner. A guy who didn't play two sports would be in the Hall of Fame for either one of them. Matter of fact, is in the Hall of Fame in college for both sports, if I'm not mistaken. Played it. We wouldn't be talking about this guy if he was if the stupid Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't talk to him about talking to us won't get you lose your eligibility. He'd be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer instead of at the time a Los Angeles Raider. Then he goes out on a fluke injury in a playoff game against the Cincinnati Bengals. You could probably put this guy back on the White Sox and make him a better team.
Right now.
Absolutely right now. My number one is one Vincent Edward Jackson, otherwise known as Bo. Give me them both.
You got them both. I put
got
Bo
a two-run
Jackson and
dinger.
Marcus Allen at their one.
I got a two-run dinger.
A two-run dinger. Yeah. So, no. Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen, definitely my number one when it comes to Raiders. Yeah, I don't think you could, like you said, they were the best combo. I mean, if Bo Jackson did play, well, even in real life, I mean, you put them on the field together. One, you don't know who's getting the ball, and one, you don't know how far they're going to take the ball once they get it. So
you don't know who's
Thunder
getting
and Lightning. I mean,
you don't know who's getting murdered on the field and who's going to get their pocket picked.
Yep. So
yeah.
All right. So we got three. So now let's go to the Cardinals of Arizona, the football team. So this one kind of, I think we're going to drop here. I think we're going to go two, I think, on this one.
Ooh. Oof. Two is three. I could see three.
I could see three too, but I'm going to stick with two.
After that, two is a safe bet. That's like if you want to go to Florida and Florida State your safety school.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah.
All right.
Lead it out.
So I go lead off. All right. I'm going to go with the defensive lineman, and I believe in his rookie year up until I think he suffered a big injury, was just dominant on that line. And that's one Simeon Rice.
I remember him with Tampa. I always remember Simeon Rice in Tampa, but I know I've had plenty of his rookie cards. So yeah, I know he was in Arizona. But were they still the Arizona Cardinals at the time, or were they still Phoenix?
They might have been Phoenix at the time, or it might have crossed over.
All right. Well,
All right, you're number five.
My number five, I kind of alluded to this by saying if you wanted to go to Florida State and Florida State's your safety school. I remember this guy's rookie game was a basically coming out party for him because he looked sick. And then you line him up alongside my number one, and then you have my number four throw to him. It made it really, really scary. And then I think he ended up getting his Super Bowl with the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken. I like this guy, even though he went to Florida State. My number five is Anquan Bolden.
My number four is Rod Tidwell.
Rod Tidwell, sweet.
No, my number four is Anquan Bolden.
How did I forget Rod Tidwell? Damn it!
I actually just thought of that for some reason right now. So
I forgot
Anquan
Rod Tidwell.
You're number four.
My number four, quarterback, was a practice was a training camp casualty for the Green Bay Packers back in the 90s. Now think about this: when you've got Brett Favre, Ty Detmer, and Mark Brunell, and then my number 4 in your quarterback room, it's kind of scary. And then he goes and doesn't get picked up by anybody, and then goes to the Iowa Barnstormers. Everybody, if anybody's ever watched the movie All American, you kind of pretty much know what it's all about. And then he goes and if it wasn't for Trent Green getting injured in the preseason, we wouldn't be talking about our number 4 anywhere. Because he takes Trent Green's team and goes and becomes the greatest show on turf, and then goes and takes them to a Super Bowl and turns around, leaves, and goes to the Giants. Is it the Giants first or the Cardinals first? I think it's the Cardinals first. And then goes and takes the Cardinals, loses to the Steelers in the Super Bowl. Cool. That's great. Now I think he's doing color commentary. I can't remember where he's at now. But my number 4 is the former Iowa Barnstormer, Arizona Cardinal, Green Bay Packer, New York Giant, St. Louis Ram, Kurt Warner. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. I know you got it.
My number 3.
I know you got it.
Career cut short because he wanted to serve his country, and then we know rumors is it was friendly fire. I think that killed him. And my number 3 is Pat Tillman. Your number 3.
My number 3, a guy who went to Arizona State, much like Pat Tillman, was on the same team in college with one Pat Tillman. Was drafted by the Cardinals, like Pat Tillman. As we know, what happened to Pat Tillman. Instead of what happened to Pat Tillman, my guy goes to Denver. Funny thing is, you have a guy on your Raiders list that has the same nickname as my guy at number 3. My number 3 is one Jake the Snake Plummer.
Yeah. It's thought about him. My number 2, I will put it on the board. The phrase that pays. My number 4 is your number. Or my number 2 is your number 4, Kurt Warner. All right, your number 2.
Well, it's gonna start sounding like a broken record because it's the phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 2 is your number 3. It was, again, when I made this list, the second guy I thought of was Pat Tillman.
Nope. Yeah, that was literally third because I had Kurt Warner, but he was up there. He was quickly. My number 1, Minnesota great, has told many people when his contract came up and they wanted him to come to Minnesota, he said, no, I'm not going to play for them. I'm going to stick to the Cardinals if they want me. I am going with Larry Fitzgerald.
You're reading that
number
too?
1.
Well, we're going to go ahead and keep the hope alive and saying the phrase that pays. My number 1 is your number 1, and yeah, my number. I thought of that's the first guy I thought. It's the first Cardinal that I've actually got an autograph of. So, I thought of it right away. And
what did I miss here?
No. It's the fact is that what were you talking about the whole?
Oh, you're reading this too, so okay.
Yeah. It's about Reggie Bush winning getting his eye in the trophy bag. Yeah. I've got it still up, so I got you covered.
All right. So we got 4.
Who did we miss?
So
you had Simeon Rice. You had one Florida State guy and change for the other Florida State guy.
Yeah. All right. So now we're going to move into different sport, different topic, sports related.
Oh,
But we are going to go to the championships we would like to hold,
okay.
minus the top 4 major sports. So no football, basketball, hockey, baseball.
No, let's be safe. Because I don't think I'm good though. Let's just say not the top 4 major sports like the NFL, the NBA, the Major League Baseball. I didn't go and get other sports. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So all right. So this one I could. I'll go 1 because I think we'll get 1.
I think 2.
Okay.
2 maybe.
All right. So
All right, I lead it out.
You lead it out. All right.
I lead it out because it's an odd number, so I lead it out because I'm the odd duck of C2C. Because we can't say crying Devin Booker is the odd one because he's just a special guest. My number 5, and I saw this, and I thought of this right away when you brought it up, and I thought that this would be cool to hold because this isn't something that the United States ever seems to find a way to get. But I live in a country where, sports isn't all that popular, but this one sport is. Matter of fact, I think that was FIFA. But the one thing I'd like to have just to say I have it. I played soccer from kindergarten to 8th grade. So yeah, I broke my nose in one of those years. So my first year I played soccer and I broke my nose. You ever see a 5-year-old with a broken nose? It's kind of funny. But my number 5 is the World Cup.
Yeah, that would be a cool one. My number 5, I'm gonna go with our first major curveball here. And if I had a chance to compete, and if I had a chance to compete for a title in this, I would want to go up against Dave Mess Around because we call him the honorary champ of this so-called sport. And that I would like to go for the sleep championship.
The what?
They have a sleeping title.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. He's the
king of naps, but
oh my gosh. And the funny thing is, just as soon as he said Mess Around's name, I got a notification from Mess Around saying about the whole Reggie Bush thing.
Yep, exactly. So all right, you're number 4.
Number 4, this sport again primarily takes place in Italy, but my dad was a huge fan of it. I used to wake up with my dad watching this, and it took place halfway around the world. I'm not much of a cyclist, but I thought it was cool, and I think it would be cool to give my dad this jersey after winning it and it always seemed to take place in the around my birthday, so it was always something cool. And now my wife's dad my wife's dad loves this sport and loves this race. But I want the yellow jersey, which is the champions jersey of the Tour de France.
Ooh, that is a good one. I don't know if I can sit on a bike that long, but that would be something.
For like 20 days. Yeah, no.
Yeah. All right. I was just gonna put a joke in that chat, but it wouldn't make sense. Okay, forget it. My number 4 is a sport I would love to play, get a chance to do it at least once. And the only time it gets popular is around the Olympic time. And we're Minnesota's good known for it. I would like to be the champion of curling. So you're number 3.
Well, the funny thing is you brought the Olympics up, and since I'm kind of wrong. I do have one of the 4 major sports, but it's not the NHL. I always like this, and will be the when you win this, you're the world champion, and I always wanted this, and I'm trying to see if I can actually get in to see this in 2026 when the Winter Olympics are here in Milano. I want to win the Olympic gold medal in ice hockey.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 4 major sports, but
or steal it.
You went that way though.
Yeah. Or steal it.
my number 3, it's always been a dream.
We're not doing
What's that?
We're not doing
No, we're not. No. But my number 3, somebody just finished their dream, finished their story. I would like to do it. I told quite a few people that I know that's in the business now, if I could go back 20 years right out of high school, I'll actually be 26 years, 27 years. I would definitely train for this. I would like to be a WWE champion or a wrestling champion. You're number 3.
My number 2. My number 2 is the phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless we're sniping. This was the second thing that came to mind when I came up. I want to hold the belt. You can give me any belt. I don't care. You can give me the European title. You can give me the Intercontinental title. You can give me the 24/7 three-way title. I don't care. Give me a title in wrestling. I care. Just give me one. I want one.
Yeah, and the thing is if you're a good enough champ, they're going to talk about you down the road and holding that, so. Yep. My number 2. This one I want to try for sure. I just don't think I could last and not play stupid. My number 2 is I want the bracelet for the World Series of Poker. All right. You're number 1.
I have taken pictures with world champions. I'm a paper maker's son, but I have seen 16 different bracelets. My number 1 is I want to hold. I held them, but I want to own one. I want to own a World Series of poker title. I want a bracelet.
Yes. My number 1. We just saw it play here this past weekend. And I like the fact that the following year, the champion that won it the previous year has to put the title / jacket onto the person. I want the green jacket. I want the Masters.
That's a good one. I forgot all about that one.
Yeah.
I almost said Wimbledon, but I broke my nose playing tennis, so I would never do that again.
Yeah. Pickleball maybe.
That ball hurts.
I'm glad you didn't say the spelling bee.
No, I lost. I got knocked out in the first round of the spelling bee, and I'm really good at spelling.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna turn it back to a topic comes up on 4bro / bro code quite a bit. J-Mac loves these ones, and these are the weirdest sports. And there's some weird ones out there. All right, so I get to start it off.
You get to start, but how many do you think? I know we were talking backstage that we might get 2. At this point, I know which 2.
Yeah, I got to go 2. I think there's 2 out there that
2 that could get us. 2 of us, if we were on TV, 2 of us that could get us shut down by the FCC.
Probably. So.
These 2 might 2.
Yeah. So my number 5, and I had to read this and reread it, and we're talking wrestling. I'm going to go number 5, and the way this starts is they bring it's camel wrestling. So the way it starts is they bring in the female in between 2 males and one walk her by, and then pretty much they fight, and the winner gets her. So. Yeah, camel wrestling.
Yeah. Weird could be. Oh wow. Wow. No, don't
All
have
right,
that
you're
one.
number 5.
I'll be honest, I don't have that one. And when I saw my number 5, I'm starting to wonder I might be tame at this point. My number 5, and I can't remember where this takes place, but I remember seeing the picture of it, and I'm like, they always say people make do the weirdest sports, and then I realized that it takes place in the United States. So yeah, that's pretty weird. Um, and it's weird because you have to it's a race where you're on a sex doll, and it's called sex doll
What?
rafting. Yeah, I saw it. You're you're on a sex doll, and you ride it like, remember how how kids,
They're
they
considering
always
that a
have,
sport.
where how
Yeah.
kids used to would ride, would hold on to something and kick. You do that. You get on
Yep.
you get on a sex doll like that, where you're basically over her midsection, and then you
Yes.
just kick to a certain spot.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So, okay. Did not have that one on there. Mine.
That's what I thought was part of our two.
Wow. Yeah.
Guess
No,
not.
there's a couple other ones on here. So my number 4,
Okay, cool.
I just can't imagine the first person to do this and get picked up by ESPN or considered a sport. But
Oh my god.
and yeah, my number 4 is extreme ironing,
That is not the one
where you
I
have
figured
to
you were
do
gonna
it. You have to iron in weird and extreme places, like on top of rocks, on top of on top of probably a train track when the train's coming. I don't know, but yeah, extreme ironing.
And the funny thing is, I saw it the first time I saw it. It was on ESPN. ESPN Sports Center had it on, and that's one of the reasons why I have it at number 4. It's the phrase that pays. My number 4 is your number 4. I saw extreme ironing, and I went. And the thing is, I've seen pictures of it, and I've seen video of it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, which woman in the world is going to do it? And then you realize mostly that the people that do this extreme ironing are guys.
it's the guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
But you
So
but
Tim,
you ask any wife or any woman in the world, you're going, oh, these guys can go, these guys can go like on a pier and iron, or iron upside down under a pier, but you can't get them to iron at home.
yeah. Yep. All right, Tim. So I got a good question for you. How much right now to run a race could you hold while running? Or a maze or something. Carry while
Depends
you're doing
on
it.
how depends on how long it is, how far the race is, not how long of what I have to carry is. If I were in my 20s, pretty a decent amount.
Yep. Nope. I get you. Yeah. I get you. So my number 3 is a race where the guys, and I think they would have to change this now because of we're in 2024, has to carry a female partner around the track or a maze, over their shoulder, so the woman's upside down. And the winner of the race, no, I haven't. But the winner of the race gets their wife's weight in beer.
I think it's called the Tough
as the
Mudder.
prize.
I think it's called Tough Mudder.
I saw it called the wife carrying, the wife carrying contest. So you're number 3.
I could carry my wife, especially that way. I could carry my wife a long way. She's short. She's a midget. She's 5 foot nothing. She's basically the size of a keg. She's probably the same height as a beer keg. Don't tell her I said that.
Wow.
She's tiny. Let's just say she makes my sister look like
I'm gonna bring it up by kicking it this week that
she's in Germany. She's gonna miss the show. She's not gonna see the show. She's gonna
that's right. That's right. You said that. So
She leaves for Germany at 1:00 in the morning, so she's not going to see it.
All right. All right. I'll text her.
All right, cool.
You're number
I'll
3.
give you. Just make sure you friend her first. My number 3. We keep talking about night moves. How we've met, and then you always had this little certain section where you had the headbangers and the heavy metal. You always played a little bit of heavy metal, and what do heavy metal fans like to do? They like to play air guitar. And I've seen, again, ESPN has showed this, so I know it exists. And I've never met the guy, but I know of the guy who has won. And I think he's actually showed up on America's Got Talent a couple times, playing air guitar. And they actually have an air guitar competition.
Yeah, that's just, I don't even know how you would judge that. Or just, I don't get it. So my number 2, and honestly, I really think this is one of J-Mac's favorite weird sports.
Oh gosh.
I don't know why. But it's an endurance one. And what it is you take 2 ferrets.
2 what?
You put them in your pants and see how long you can go. Yes. Ferret legging, they call it. You put ferrets in your pants and you see how long it takes you to rip off your pants, I guess, or get them out of there. Ferret racing or ferret legging, they call it.
This is going to be trouble. I could get so much trouble. I can't. Oh my gosh! If this was on Four Bros, I could elaborate a whole lot more. This would be funny.
Well, we have about talking about that. Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you're number 2.
Well, we're going to go back with the phrase that pays. You kind of brought it up when you asked me how much I could carry for a long period of time. And it's just like I said, right now I'm pushing 50 here in a couple of years. And next year I turn 50. Probably not that far anymore because I'd probably keel over if I had to walk down the steps with my wife on her back, not because of her, because of me. But yeah, my number 2 was your number 4, if I'm not mistaken. The wife carrying 3, number 3. Yep, the wife carrying competition.
Yeah. All right, so my number 1.
Oh boy.
It's a 2 sport one. They combine 2 sports, and the second part of the sport would be it's still tough with the mind, and now you put in the first sport and try to do the second sport in between rounds, and they call it chess boxing.
Chess boxing?
So yeah, you box. Yes.
Oh my
you box for whatever, 3 minutes, and then you go play chess for a little bit, and then you go back and box for a little bit. And the way to win is you either you knock your opponent out or you put them in checkmate.
Oh my Lord.
And I know you play chess a little bit, and it's hard. It's hard
without
getting hit in the head.
It's hard to get without getting hit in the head. It's like, think about who'd be awesome at this. Mike Tyson. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. I am going. Just so you know, I'm going
boxing. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul this weekend.
Jake Paul. I really want to see that match, and it's going to be on Netflix, so I get the chance to see that match.
Yep. All right, you're number 1.
Well, I don't have chess boxing. I don't have that one. I kind of don't. And here's the funny thing is, I thought this was going to be the one we were going to hit on too, so it kind of scares me that I'm the only one that thinks about it, and I'm starting to think I have a problem. And oh boy, it kind of mixes 2 things together, and I kind of want to see how this works out, just on curiosity's sake. But what it is you have to get. It's called this is called air sex. There's something called The look on your face alone was the same one I looked at, going, "What in the world is this?" What it is a man and a woman go on to the competition.
Too much detail here.
No. It's okay. It's clean, and J-Mac's probably getting things going. You know what your 2 boys are doing on C2C Rank Em right now? They're talking about air sex. What it is it's a competition, and what you do is you go up a woman and a man go up on stage, kind of like an air guitar, except it's not, fully clothed, right? And then you simulate sex acts in front of judges.
Wow.
When I saw that, I heard that, I'm like, don't get me wrong. I know there are a couple of people in our group that will try to look that up and see what that actually looks like. I'm afraid to say that I might be one of those people. Just to satisfy a curiosity. But yeah, that's my number one. And I honestly thought that I didn't think the wife one and the ironing one were going to be the ones we got that we sniped on. I thought it was going to be
I actually thought the wife one we would
get. Huh? What's that?
I thought the wife one. I thought the wife one was the one we were going to get. I did think that. So yeah, we got 2. So we not shut out. We went 5 for 5, a legit 5 for 5 on 1. So with that being said, Tim, your final thoughts.
Okay. My final thoughts. This is kind of a thing I will explain. My final thoughts is I'm going to explain a sport and do with it what you will. We have this rule. I worked as a bouncer in a bar, and we always had this running rule that if you can make anything a game or a sport as long as it has a beginning, an end, and rules and point system. Guys will make anything a sport. Well, I used to, like I said, I worked in security in a bar, and we used to have this game called the World Slapnuts League, even though it took place in this bar. And the only way it was by invite only, and the way you got invited is if you cup checked somebody. And you couldn't punch somebody. You can only backhand them and cup check somebody, and then you had to shake their hand, and that's what we called inking their contract. So they were in the game, and we had rules, and then you played to 21, and then we had champions. But hey, for all of those guys who really like the NFL, Bacon and I are going to be doing the draft tomorrow night. We called the Bacon Prime Draft Extravaganza. I added the extravaganza part. Maybe on Kicking It, I make a special guest appearance. I don't make special guest appearances because I'm like The Rock. I'm usually in Hollywood doing my thing, and I'm not The Rock. I'm just the prime oos. I'm not the final boss. I'm not even the first boss. I'm like the underboss. I'm the tutorial guy.
So tonight, Wednesday, we got sports minute, which we had a bunch of topics just be blowing up here. And then tomorrow, if you guys want some crispy takes on the NFL draft, check out Crispy Bacon and Tim Hendricks, the Prime Moose, do the coverage. I hope to be off at work in time and to join them, especially before the Vikings pick. Hopefully that works out. If not, I'll be on to give my analysis on what I think the Vikings just did.
And give us
I think tomorrow's going to be a very interesting.
And give me a name that I'm going to be and I don't know what name I'm going to be saying like 40 times like Nolan Smith last year, but I'm my solid guess it might be Jalen Daniels. It might be Will Levis or Nolan Smith, but this year I have this feeling it's going to be Jalen Daniels.
Yeah, Daniels could be one that would if he gets he could withdraw. But with that being said, check us out all week. We got a lot of great shows. Callan's teased that Press Rose coming back tomorrow before the show. So check that out. With that being said, thank you guys for joining. We'll see you all next week on C2C Rank Em. Have a good one.